Okay, we know a lot of people have questions, so we wanted to go straight to the Illinois Secretary of State's spokesperson, Dave Drucker, to get some answers. Dave, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
So we've got a couple things at play. I know the Real ID deadline has been pushed a couple of times now, but then there are the deadlines from expired licenses, which have been pushed a couple times. So just run through what people need to know about, when they absolutely must get to a Secretary of State facility.
What we are encouraging people to do is wherever possible, if they can use our services online to avoid that going to the facility period would be a priority. Secretary White announced today that we are extending the deadline on driver's licenses and IDs from August 1st to January 1st of 2022, next year. So you'll be good to fly in that period of time. There's really no reason for people, when the weather is bad out, there's no reason for them to be waiting in lines at this point. This is a 5-month extension that we hope people will take advantage of.
Okay, so you talk about extending the lines. How much of that do you think will help with the backlog that we've seen? Because I got to think that you've got to have a bigger plan in place to prevent this from continuing to happen, right? Month on end.
Lourdes, that's an excellent point that you're making. The fact is that our office was closed for a couple months, although we were one of the few agencies in all of government that was open throughout most of the pandemic. But the fact is that there were a lot of expirations that did occur during the period of time when the office was closed. We're looking at other options to expand the ability of people to be able to do things online and not to have to go to facilities. And we should be announcing some of these things in the near future. But your premise is correct, that there is a huge backlog that we can keep on extending it, but we have a new group of people that become expired when you do that number of people per month. So we are going to be looking at ways for people to be doing more services online.
But Dave, I have to ask you, because so many other states, including Arizona, for example, you just go online and essentially make an appointment with a guaranteed time slot to renew your driver's license or conduct other business there. And the Illinois Secretary of State's office has been very slow to do that online, leading to a lot of frustration that I know you and I have talked about over the months.
Yeah, no question about that, Ben. The fact of the matter is that from now and into the future, that appointments is definitely the way to go. That's definitely going to be the future. We've been looking at doing it for several years. We have 4 facilities currently that one can make appointments at, and we'll be announcing more in the near future. There's no question that's the way to go. But the fact is that at this point in time, when you're talking about trying to implement something during the course of a pandemic, it's not like you can just press a button and say, okay, we can have 500,000 people, schedule an appointment.
What else would you ask people to do other than going online, maybe doing whatever service they can online as opposed to going to the facility? What else can they do to facilitate and ease the process a little bit?
Well, it's a difficult thing, Lourdes. We would ask people to be patient. The fact of the matter is the lines are long, but people can get through the system a lot faster than what it might appear. We are limited with the number of people that can be in a building. We're doing social distancing, keeping people separate. So the lines actually are somewhat looking longer than what the reality is in terms of how long it takes people to get through. So I guess I would ask people to be patient and again, do as many of the services online as they possibly can. I think one thing that's really good that people can do is to get the annual registration sticker online. Yeah. That's the sticker that goes on the back license plate of the automobile. We have, especially towards the end of the month, which we're coming up to here, people going in line, and they really don't have to do that.
All right. Dave Drucker, thank you so much with the Secretary of State's office. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.